Hello, hello, hello. This is Dr. Janice R. Love, also known as the First Lady Coach, and I equip Christian women to have the clarity, the confidence, and the courage to walk boldly into the destiny for which she was chosen by being perfectly who God created her to be. Oh my gosh, we have a treat tonight. So let's go. But tonight, we are going to be talking about how to manage your faith when you have fibroids. And as you can see, like I said, I have a special guest tonight. And welcome to the stage, everybody, Miss Chevron Corder, who is also known as Mac the Maverick. Welcome, Chevron.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm just so glad you're here. We've known each other for quite some time now. But let me all just tell you a little bit about her because this woman has it going on. All right. Like I said, she's known as Mac the Maverick. She does inspirational blogging, right? She calls herself a beauty junkie, right? And a blogger. She is a YouTuber, and yeah, I got to catch up with you because you have a whole lot more followers going on than I do. But she's a wife, she's a bonus mom, she's actually a pastor's wife as well. And the girl got some pipes on her because she's I call her a world famous singer myself, but is part of a group where she sings as well. So she is joining me today to talk about basically her physical, emotional, and even spiritual journey as she dealt with fibroids. So again, welcome, Chevron.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be having this critical conversation.
Yeah, totally. So let's just start from the beginning. Let's talk about why we're even talking about this in the first place.
Yeah.
Because fibroids are a problem, especially for Black women, right?
hmm hmm
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there's some statistics out there. Do you have the statistics, or you want me to drag out my statistics?
Go for it.
Okay. All right. So first of all, let's talk about what are fibroids.
So, fibroids are basically growths. They're not cancerous, but they're growths that are made out of the smooth muscle cells and the tissue in your uterus. They can
Okay.
be as small as a grain of rice, they can be as big as a watermelon. If you know, you know, but
Yeah.
they're an overall pain in the butt.
Okay. So if you were carrying something around like a watermelon, you don't only feel it, you can see it in
Yes.
certain ways, right?
hmm
Looks like you're pregnant almost. Okay.
Absolutely.
But they're non-cancerous usually, right? It is
Yes.
they're just cell-like growths that are in the uterus. Okay. And so what seems to be the challenge for African American women? What I found when I was doing a lot of research, and you're just like me. I'm sure when you first figured out you had them, you went to the books and you started researching. But
hmm
Black women are 2 to 3 times more likely than white women to have them. And and what I'm finding is 25% have them before they even get to 25. And then by the time we get to 50, 80% of Black women have experienced fibroids. Now that's huge. That's huge. Yeah, I had them. I looked around in my family. My mom had them. I have 3 sisters. They all had them. So this isn't something, we're not alone in this, right?
Right. Right. That's 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a problem for us. So let's talk a little bit about, because when I found out that I had them, I just had all these questions like, where did I get them from? What did I do wrong? What did I do something? Did I? And I had all these questions, but there's several different theories out there about how they come about in the first place. So you want to share some of that?
I know that the research has been evolving over the last couple of years. There has been thought that, we don't really know how they pop up, but they've been tied to everything from estrogen and
Mhm.
excess of that,
Mhm.
especially as it relates to hormonal birth control and things like that. But there's also been talk of them being tied to our hair relaxers in
I
recent
read that.
years.
I read that, and there's even been some studies around that, and I think when we were talking about this, you talked about the fact that there is a class action suit out there against the hair relaxer companies because they think that might be one of the causes. But they did a study. I don't know who did this, but they did a study of like 23,000 Black women,
Mm-hmm.
and especially in the South, because you live in the South. You're in Nashville. I'm here in Kansas City, but I lived in Oklahoma, so I guess that's considered South as well. But it said Black women in the South with higher educational attainment, higher incomes, and white collar jobs who typically used relaxers, right? Because back in the day, and I might be dating myself, but it wasn't professional to go in there with your hair natural, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we relaxed our hair. I remember, I think I got my first relaxer maybe when I was in like the sixth grade or something crazy like that.
Mm-hmm.
And but they say that these women who were professionals and relaxing their hair were at a greater risk for fibroids um, than other women.
That makes
So
a lot of sense.
yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense because again, when I look at my family, all of us use relaxers. Now my mom didn't use relaxers because she had the what they call the good hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
But um, we all use relaxers, and there's some other things that they say that it could be simply genetics. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and they're saying this could be especially in Black families, it's simply genetics. It could be because we have a greater overall stress than other women do. It has been tied to diet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Also, vitamin D deficiency, which has kind of been huge here lately. And we have a nurse on here, so I'm sure she could speak up about the vitamin D deficiency. And then this is the one that got me was the earlier you started your menstrual period, the more you might have been at risk for fibroids at an earlier age.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I don't know about you, but I was like almost in high school before I got mine. So I couldn't go back and blame that.
I was
So
9, like a
9 years
month
old.
shy of my 10th birthday.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, it might make sense. Okay. So let's quit talking about statistics because they don't matter here. We both had them and we both had to deal with it, right? So let's talk about your journey. So tell me how this journey started.
So going back to 9, 10, my periods were always pretty nefarious.
Okay.
Okay. I was always cramping a lot. It would be to the point where I was throwing up and they had to come get me from
Ooh,
school and
wow.
didn't even.
I just said, wow.
Yes, they were really, really bad. And of course, you are kind of programmed that pain is normal for a lot of reasons. So going up to maybe college is when they started my period started interfering with my quality of life, and I got on birth control to try to manage the
Mhm.
symptoms. Fast forward to maybe 2018, 2019, things started amping up. My periods began to be irregular. The pain continued. I'd have a lot of breakthrough bleeding where I shouldn't. And my mom, thankfully, had already primed me that she had fibroids. I remember when she had a hysterectomy to completely eradicate the issue. So that is what made me ask my doctor, hey, I'm having all these problems. Can you look at it? And with some persistence and a little bit of pushing, they finally sent me for an ultrasound. And that's when they saw them in my uterus.
Okay. Okay. So typically the thing that leads to a diagnosis is three things. I've seen that it's pain. Either the pain is so bad
Mm-hmm.
that you know something's wrong. The other reason is, of course, the heavy bleeding is what a lot of women might experience, and then the other thing is infertility. They maybe
Yes.
been had trying to have a baby but can't, and figured something's wrong, so that takes them to the doctor, and that's when they discover, okay, you have fibroids. But again,
Mhm.
when I got them at first, I was just kind of in shock. Again, I had all these questions because as I think about it, it's not a conversation that even me and my sisters had or
Mhm.
me and my girlfriends had. We just didn't talk about it. I don't know because I don't know why. So okay, so you go to the doctor, you find out it's fibroids. So next you have, well, how did you feel first of all when you figured out it's fibroids?
I was kind of relieved to have a name to put with my symptoms. And at the
Okay,
time, I guess they were relatively small, so my doctor took a wait and see approach.
okay,
I wish he hadn't, but I guess we'll get to that. But
okay.
um, I was at least relieved to know that there wasn't something worse happening, or that, we identified it, we have a diagnosis, we can at least start looking at treating it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And the same here. So now again, in my day, Shafran, and again, maybe it's because when I got them, I had already had my children.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't have a choice. My doctor says, okay, we're gonna do a hysterectomy. So when once your doctor told you this, talk about the conversations that you had. Was it with your mom, with your girlfriends? Was it with your husband? Well, obviously your husband too. What were the conversations that you had?
Well, I was not married yet.
Okay. Okay.
But me and my mom, we're really, really close.
Mhm.
And knowing that she had been through this before and been through multiple courses of treatment, the first thing she told me was, hey, you have options. In my day, the
Mhm.
option was a hysterectomy. That's what they did. But you keep pushing and pushing until you get some answers, but don't let them take you straight there.
Right. And so some of the information I was looking at says that typically if you have already had children, they don't even really kind of give you a choice. Your doctor goes straight into talking about hysterectomy. Now, I don't know back in I think it was like 2000, no, I don't even know, 1999,
Hmm.
1999, before we went into the year 2000, that I had mine. And again,
Hmm.
I didn't really get a choice. And I feel like maybe I should have been a little more conversated with my doctor to talk about what are my other options. But I don't know. Back then, maybe that was the only option. I don't know what other people's experiences are. Feel free to put them in the chat box. But it didn't seem like they gave me an option. But what I'm reading is if infertility is the problem, then they tend to give you more options.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. So you had conversation with your mom. You decided to wait it out.
Yes.
Okay. So fast forward to today.
Mhm.
What was the decision like when so you had your surgery back in
February.
February. And first of all, you didn't have to have a hysterectomy because you had options, right?
Yes.
So
Mhm.
let's talk about the decision to go ahead and do that.
So things got progressively worse for me. I started having more breakthrough bleeding. They changed my pill like two or three times, and every time I would have the same issue. So I actually ended up having to switch doctors. That was first and foremost. The one that I had wasn't really taking my concerns as serious. And you know your body, you know when things are getting worse. I was getting up in the middle of the night having to go all the time because later on I found out something was sitting on my bladder, that
Mm.
kind of thing. So I went to the new doctor and she started feeling around and she said, your abdomen, your uterus is distended, it's swollen. And so when they did the other ultrasound, another one, they had grown. So I had one the size of a plum, and then two more the size of a strawberry that we knew about. And so my OBGYN recommended me to a reproductive endocrinologist.
Okay,
And
so there's
so,
such a thing as a
yes,
reproductive endocrinologist, and they specialize in fibroids, or
they technically specialize in fertility, but a
okay.
lot of them have specialization further in fibroids with the
Mhm.
preservation of your uterus and such because of the fertility aspect.
Okay. Okay. And you talked a little bit about the fact that the first doctor wasn't listening to you, and that's a challenge for Black women, that
Yes.
sometimes we aren't even seen as individuals. There's the old adage that we can handle more pain, right? All the different things that have been said, and so often we go in the doctor's office and we're not heard. And so
Yes.
it's kudos to you for saying, you know what, I'm just gonna find me another doctor.
Yes.
So I'm so glad you did that. Okay, so now you're having conversations with this doctor. What is going through your mind? What are your prayers at this point? Even
My prayers is that there were that first of all it wasn't so far gone, because I still do desire, to birth my own children. And so the fact that, my doctor so immediately recommended me to another specialist, it kind of concerned me a little bit.
oh
And
yeah,
then as I'm getting older, are they going to be able to treat whatever it is? Are they going to be able to save my uterus? I've never had any kind of surgery before, and I'm scared. I'm
yeah,
scared.
yeah. Scared.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be cut on, right?
No.
Especially again when you're thinking that one wrong thing or what the result of this could be that I could never have children.
Right.
That
Right.
that had to be scary. So you and your husband had these conversations about what I'm gonna do, that kind of thing.
Yes.
All right, so you decided you were going to do it. Now, the reason you all don't know, the reason why I'm talking to her about this is because this woman documented everything from A to Z on her website. She has a 3-part series about the monsters in her belly.
Hmm.
And she talked about from the time that she discovered she had fibroids. She defined everything about what they were, where they come from, all that kind of stuff. And then she even documented on down by vlogging, video blogging, down to having the surgery, recovery, and all that. Okay, so it's time for the surgery.
Hmm.
How are you doing then?
You know what? I was okay until the day of,
Okay,
because I'd never been under like general anesthesia or anything like that. And there was some questions that I should have asked before that I hadn't. So I
okay,
did ask a few the day of. Like I knew about the plum and I knew about the strawberry, but I didn't know, where they were, because I ended up having an open myomectomy. And if you'd like, I'll explain briefly. There's an option for you to have a laparoscopic myomectomy where they
mhm,
make little puncture holes and send a robot in.
okay,
And then there's the open kind that is almost like a C-section cut. And then there is a vertical open that's like a slice between your belly button and your pubic bone. I ended up having that last one. And I was like, do I really need this invasive of a surgery? But when my doctor came in the room, I asked her, where are my fibroids? And she, had a sullen look everywhere. They
oh
were everywhere. And that kind of solidified and confirmed, yes, you need to do this. It's scary, but it's something that has to be done.
wow, find time for her to have that look on her face right before you get ready to go under.
And of course, I couldn't see anything but her eyes because we were wearing masks and everything, but I could just tell from her eyebrows that it was
Right,
bad.
right. Wow, wow. So yeah, I remember going into surgery, and again there were lots of, she was going to determine certain things once she got in.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
wasn't like I knew exactly what she was going to do. I mean, obviously the goal was to, well, my surgery was different, but again, there were certain things I didn't know until she got in, what she was going to see, how she was going to treat it. So yeah, so
Right.
you did the doctor pray with you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, my anesthesiologist, bless him, he walked in the room declaring the promises of God over me. And we did get to pray before I was rolled out. And that put me at ease too, knowing that somebody in the room had God on the phone.
Praise God, because it's nothing like a praying doctor. I know that anytime I've got under, y'all better come in here with some prayers or
Mm-hmm.
something. I even asked before I know you're gonna cut on me. Do you believe in God?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because that's important. Again, they have to understand my faith. But so what was your faith kind of wavering any during this time
A,
period?
a little bit. Thankfully, I did have, the whole two or more gathered. My mom was there, my
Hmm.
husband was there, and of course, they were praying for me and with me. But I was a little concerned hearing that they were everywhere and potentially how much cutting. And it's
Hmm.
like, what if, forget my uterus, what if something happens to me while I'm
Right.
on the table? And
Right.
from the op notes, I think they had to stop for a second because my heart rate and stuff started to drop.
Oh wow. Wow. So you go under, they do what they need to do, and
Hmm.
then you wake up. What kind of report do you get from the doctor? I know the story. I'm trying not to laugh with you, but yeah.
It's not funny, but in retrospect, I was reeled into the room, and as soon as I opened my eyes, my husband says, "You want to know how many they got?" He's country, y'all. He's real, real country. But you want to know how many they got? I'm like, yeah, 45.
45 fibroids roaming
Not
around in there.
three that we thought there were,
Right.
4, 5.
Wow. And she got them all out.
She got them all out.
Girl, I saw on your description where you showed pictures of them things. I don't want to see pictures of them. I'm sorry. Those are some ugly things, but thank God they were out of you. But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, I was carrying around a grapefruit, right? So, that was enough. I wondering why I couldn't lose weight in my stomach and that kind of thing, and
Mhm.
all because I'm carrying around a baby grapefruit. They didn't count mine. Maybe I have more. I probably have more than that grapefruit I was carrying around. But to wake up to 45, I'd have passed back out and said, "You mean I was carrying around 45 little peanut head babies?"
But I was kind of relieved
Yeah.
because going back to Black women and our experience in
Hmm.
medicine, you get a lot of gaslighting, unfortunately, a lot of
Hmm.
being told that it's in your head or it's not that
Right.
bad or wait and see. So when you tie the 45 and you see your uterus that is the size of a 16-week pregnancy, and you understand I wasn't making all of this up, it was real and it's gone. That's something to celebrate.
As you have given birth, you have gotten rid of them. And again, it does feel better, especially if you've been trying to get your waistline under control, can't figure out why it's so awful.
Yeah.
And then I guess it would hurt your feelings if they say I brought out two little strawberries, right? And you went through
Right.
all of that for two little strawberries. So I guess it does feel better that you have 45 of them things up there. Wow. Okay. So you get through it.
Hmm.
You get home from the hospital and you got a plan, right?
Yes.
To recover. What was
Sort
this
of.
plan? Because I know you had it all planned out. I know you had it all planned out.
Well, I did line up some good help. My mom
Mhm.
came and stayed for a couple of weeks. My husband took some time off to be with me. And before my surgery, I tried to do a pretty good job of lining up all the things I'm usually responsible for, like my finances, stocking the fridge and the freezer, and setting up my recovery space to be conducive to me, not being able to get around the way I normally would. And I made myself a planner to make sure that I could document my feelings both physically and mentally,
Mhm.
and keep track of my medication and my movement and things like that.
Well, who organizes like that except my friend Mac the Maverick? all organized when she comes home. Got everything set up. I fell out and asked my mom to come take care of me. I just did it like that. Now you had prepared some slides. You want to show any of those slides? You want me to put up
Um,
any of them?
I think we've kind of gotten past the material on
Oh,
those.
okay. But you said you did this kind of little journal thing. Tell me about that.
Yes. So my surgery recovery planner, I've actually retooled it and made it available on Etsy if anyone needs it.
Let
But
me see if I can pull up. Wait, let me see if I can pull this up, girl. Wait a minute.
so
Where's the planner? Well, did I miss something?
there it
There you
is.
go.
So it's a 38-page downloadable planner. It's got checklists for how to prepare for your surgery, how to pack your hospital bag, your contact list that you can put your contacts for you and your people, as well as your medical contacts, your doctors and other folks that your loved ones might need. And then there are trackers for your mood. If you're watching TV or reading books while you're recovering, you can track and write that kind of thing down. And then there's 6 weeks of weekly layout for you to track what you're eating, your movement, your medication logs, and also some open space for you to journal. And that really helped me, first of all, to keep my sanity. But when I went in for, say, my checkups or whatever, instead of trying to remember, I'm having this issue or this happened to me or I need to ask about this, because I had jotted down some little notes, I could just take them to my doctor and say, hey, I need to ask you about this or that.
Wow. That's amazing because I wish I had your journal back when I went through it. But if you are interested in getting her journal, it's on your Etsy channel, which is Mac the Maverick.
It is macthemaverick.etsy.com, and I actually have a discount code just for you guys. If you know you or anyone you need a surgery recovery planner, it's not just for fibroids. It would be good for any surgery. You get 30% off with the code PEARLS.
Woo-hoo, that's right. All about pearls. Yes. But
Yes.
gosh, I am just so proud of you how you did it. And I'm just thinking about how much that can be a blessing to other women. Because it is so scary having to go under the knife for any reason whatsoever. But if you are planful, not only for your emotionally, and
Yes.
again preparing yourself spiritually, getting everything in place. Because I know that you had to move to the first floor because you couldn't even get up the steps, right? So you had to move to
Yes.
the first floor. So you planned all this out. You bought special pillows. You did all kinds of things. You adjusted your diet because we know recovery is your diet is important when
Yes.
you are recovering. And so the fact that you put all this stuff in one place, I just thank you for that. And that tells me you have to be a graduate of Pearls Perfected Institute. This because you got it all going on. That I failed to mention that. Chevron is a graduate of Pearls Perfected Institute. And
Proud
how
of
did you
you.
even get acquainted with Pearls Perfected Institute?
Well, I think it was through one of our online pastors' wives group, the DFW pastors' wives group, and me in my infancy as a pastor's wife, came and laid my heart out about some things. And Dr. J, she just took me under her wing, and I really, really appreciate that.
Girl, you my girl. You my girl. You my girl. But yeah, you participated in the Chosen program as well as the Wife VIP program.
Yes.
And I just love it how I've seen you grow, especially as it relates to how you serve your audiences. I love the way that you take the hard work out. To me, I'm gonna describe it my way. You
Okay.
take the hard work out of being cute. Yeah,
I love it.
because you have a way of explaining things. In fact, in one of our groups, Shafran did a makeup lesson for us. And you helped me so much, especially with my little raggedy eyebrows, because when you told me they didn't have to be twins, they just have to be sisters, I couldn't help but love it. But anyway, I'm digressing. But again, thank you for being a part of Pearls Respected Institute. And in fact, Shafran has done some other things. She was the student, now she's a teacher. So she has taught a Canva confidence class, and we are looking forward to her to teaching some other classes in Pearl's Respected Institute. So again, as I talked about the fact that this isn't all about me anymore, God is expanding the territory of women who God has given them an assignment. Now, what you do, especially for young women, is help them save their money, because you try stuff out and say, look, don't buy this.
I try before you buy.
If you have this problem, get this instead. And I love that. I love what you're doing for especially the younger women, but you help some old girls like us too. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And thank you for sharing your story. So if anybody wants to go and read your story, where could they go?
You can go and find all things Mac the Maverick at macthemaverick.com.
Okay, here's her little page. Look at that. All slick. It has your email address, your Facebook. So if they want to follow you on Facebook, it's under Mac. Everything's Mac the Maverick, right?
Yes, except Facebook is Mac the Maverick blog because somebody stole my name.
See, that's all right. My name's gone too, and I've been trying to get that woman to sell me my name back, but she won't do it. So that's why I am Janice R. Love. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. But if there's a woman who is about to make a decision about fibroids or who has just recently been diagnosed to them, what would you say to them?
I would say know that you have options, push for a second and third opinion if you need it, and be encouraged. Don't be afraid to seek that treatment, go through with it if you need to, because it is better on the other side.
Hallelujah. Yes, it is. It is so much better on the side. And so we will continue to pray for you as this journey continues. Because again, hopefully, we know that God delivered. And at some point, you're going to be telling me that I'm going to be a grandma. I love it. So thank you so much for joining me on today. You have been watching Chevron Corder and myself talk about how to manage your faith when you have fibroids or you are faced with any kind of women's situation, how to manage your faith. So remember, I am Dr. Janice R. Love.